coming out to another great night of the Monday night shiur on demand. So tonight's topic is Tefillin, hopefully to get a deeper understanding, deeper connection to this great mitzvah. So first we'll open with a story that I read. There was a Jewish man that lived in Russia, young man, and unfortunately back in the day, the early 1900s, etc., there was forced conscription to even young teens. They would force them to go to the army, and unfortunately, the army back then, especially the Russian army, once you go in there, there's no kosher food, there's no nothing. After a time, you lose your Shabbat, everything goes down the drain. So much so that lo alenu, people that the government, everybody had to go. But if you didn't show up, especially back in the day, you could have hid a little bit or whatever. But if they would come to you and catch you, right, then it was much worse. So people, lo alenu, even if they were at the moment of about to getting caught, if they were wealthy people, whatever it was, they would lo alenu steal another kid to put in there as not. You didn't want your kid in the army. They would even go to such extremes. There was one boy, Sergei, who was that was his Russian name, and Shlomo gets captured. He goes to the army, and he wanted to bring us tefillin. Now, you can't. There's no religion there. There's nothing doing. No religion, no religious articles allowed. Nevertheless, he brings his tefillin, and he has them hidden. And every morning, really, really, really early, he would put on his tefillin before anybody wakes up, and he would quickly put it on quickly, and then put it back. This is what he would do day in and day out. And he didn't get caught, but one day, when someone heard a little bit of noise, and he kind of woke up, and he sees some guy putting on these weird boxes. And imagine, like the Jews were a very, very, minimum in the army there, minimal amount of Jews there. So he sees this, he's wondering what's going on. The next day, he tells some of his friends, he says, "Look, this guy, Sergei, he's putting on these weird boxes. I don't know, maybe he's a spy. I don't know what's going on." So one morning, when he wakes up really early, after his prayer, he turns around and he sees two officers, Russian officers there. And he said, "What is this?" He says, "I'll tell you the truth, you caught me red-handed. I'm praying. This is my prayer." He says, "Look, if this was your... we just started. So if this is your prayer thing, that, I would understand if you're using a book and you're saying words, okay, but what are these raps for?" He's like, "I'm telling you, it's a prayer service. It's this thing we call it tefillin." He's like, "This must be a transmitter, and it must be something for spies. Transmitters and receivers. Exactly. This is something that doesn't make sense. Antennas, etc. So we have to confess. We have to take you to jail." He says, "Look, you can take me to jail, but what do you want me to tell you? This is what it is. It's leather straps. You're not going to find anything in there." He's like, "Take it to the lab, and you'll see." They take it to the lab, they open it up, and they see parchment, really meticulously folded, and they see the Hebrew words, and as you see, this is ancient words, these are Hebrew words, who speaks Hebrew nowadays, right? This is, so, but then they realize that, look, there's no transmitting device, no electricity in there, and they tell him, say, "Look, you're either a spy or you're crazy. And we see that you're not a spy because this is leather, and leather doesn't transmit anything.
You must be crazy.
So you must be crazy.
So get out of the army.
So you know what? Just leave the army and just leave us alone over here." So instead of having to be there for 2 years, after 2 months he was back home, and then eventually, because he was deemed like a little crazy, he was able to move to Israel. Years later, he was able to move to Israel easily because he was like a weird person. He was like, right? And he was able to keep his religion and enhance his religious observance, all because of the zechut of tefillin. That was all because of that. It's unbelievable. Amen. And the truth is that I had a little bit of a connection to something like this, where in Israel I studied in a Bet Midrash, where there was an old man that would come and study there every single day with a chavruta. Every day, this old man would come and study with a chavruta there. And they would say, someone said a story that, this man, he would hide tefillin every single day in Auschwitz. He's like, what, really? Really? And the story, so then one day, we kind of approached them, and he told us this story, that every single day, when he was a kid, he was about 14 years old when he was caught, and he just had his bar mitzvah just after 13, and the tefillin was so precious to him because he grew up with his older brothers and the family. Everybody had tefillin. It was so precious to him. He couldn't part with it, but he knew it's risking his life. So he wrapped both tefillin around his legs and put the pants on top. And for the entire duration of his stay in Auschwitz, he had his tefillin wrapped around his legs. And at hidden times, he would take it off, put it around his arm and on his head quickly, and take it back down and wrap it around his leg again. Wow. It was unbelievable. And he still had the tefillin. Unfortunately, I know some of the guys went to his house and put it on at a separate time. I wanted to, I didn't get a chance to, right? But some other people that I know, that they actually went to his home to put on these tefillin. But I heard the story from him. This story continued that eventually they somehow, I think, escaped, and they found a dead Nazi on the floor somewhere in the forest. They took his uniform and they put it, and he put it on. There, a few dead Nazis. They put it on. Then they got caught by American soldiers, and he said, "Look, we're not Nazis." And obviously they were much skinnier than the Nazi uniform that was there, etc. And when they were about to shoot at him, he said, "Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad." And one of the soldiers was a Jewish soldier, an American soldier, and recognized the guy saying Shema, he's Jewish. And that was the famous Lieutenant Birnbaum, which they've written books about him, that liberated and this Jew and many others. That was the story of this Jew. I forget his name, but we would learn in Yerushalayim. I hope he's still alive. And but the preciousness of the tefillins. People, they were moser nefesh for tefillin. They went to such lengths to do the mitzvah of tefillin. So let's see a little bit what the tefillin is all about. We have 3 mitzvot that are called otot. An ot is a sign. That the Torah tells us that you want a sign between me and you, do these mitzvot. Mitzvah number 1 is Brit Milah. There's Shabbat and Tefillin. We said this last week's parasha that Avraham Avinu, he wanted to know, is he going to go into Israel or not? Is he really going to get Israel? Show it to me, Hashem. And Hashem gives him a covenant and tells him, etc. He says, but now you have to do something on your end to show that we're together on this. And I want from you a Brit Milah. And that's called Ot Britecha. It's called an Ot Brit Kodesh. That's an Ot. Shabbat is an Ot. And Tefillin V'haya le'ot al yadecha. It should be a sign on your arm. Totafot be'enecha. So these signs are signatures of Judaism. Right? There's, of course, other mitzvot. What?
Shabbat.
And Shabbat.
No, like Shabbat, the word is Shabbat, Brit Milah, Tefillin.
Shabbat, Brit Milah, Tefillin is Shabbat. Nice. I like that one. Chazak. So yes, it's those 3 are the. That's why at all times we're supposed to have. So we have 3 things that show that, like a signature, that I am Jewish. At all times we're supposed to have 2 of them with us at all times, just like there's 2 witnesses. There's 2 witnesses witnessing that you are a Jew. So you're supposed to have 2 at all times. Brit Milah we have at all times, and Tefillin we wear every morning. On Shabbat we don't wear Tefillin because we have the Od of Shabbat, so we don't need Tefillin. So you have Shabbat and Brit Milah. So you're always at all times having these 2 witnesses with you every single day that you're signing off that you're a Jew, right? So there's the Tefillin and Brit Milah, or Shabbat and Brit Milah. Tefillin is one of them that's so strong, so powerful. That's so powerful to show us the connection between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So let's talk a little bit about number 1, the makeup of the actual tefillin, and then we'll get into the hand and the head, etc. So
before we go there,
yeah,
where does it come from?
Where does it come from? It's Pesukim in the Torah. It's a commandment. It's a Torah commandment, right? That's we say in Shema. It
doesn't give any details.
Right. It doesn't give any details as to. So it has to be a sign on your hand, tied.
It could be a tattoo.
No, you tie it. Ukshartem leot yadecha, and tie it to your arm, right? Totafot benenecha, and this thing in between your eyes, right? Yeah, it's something to be it's supposed to be tied,
So
right?
we know it had to be strapped.
Had it straps there. So all that, there's many, like all this, the black, the square, it said all that is halacha de Moshe Sinai. That Hashem gave this, and this is one of the proofs, by the way, that Torah Sheba'al Peh is true. Because in the actual Torah, just like Tefillin, there's so many mitzvot that it doesn't give you the details. But we know this is what we've been doing all this time. So where did that come from? Hashem told it to Moshe Rabbeinu. So there's, just like, we were talking about pilots before. A pilot, this is the example I always give. If you give a pilot a book, and it says in that book how to fly, but he never test drove before, he never flew on his own before without the book, you would never trust him, right? Because you have to drive it as well. You have to fly, you have to actually be in the cockpit, you have to actually do it. It's not enough to just read. So the Torah Hashem gives you, here's the rules. This is what you got to do. Now, practically here, there's some other extra odds and ends that to fulfill the mitzvah in full, you got to do it like this, you got to do it like that. And that's the Torah Sheba'al Peh that complements the Torah Shebichtav. That was also given by Hashem to Moshe Rabbeinu. So I'm going to put it in a one-liner in the Torah, but you know I had to expound it to the next generations, what it means, tefillin, boxes, and black, and straps, etc. That's the kshira that I mean, etc. So that's all in there. Now, the Gemara does make from sometimes extra letters in the pasuk. Ukshartam leot. Why do you need a vav for? So the vav teaches me this, and so sometimes from different letters in the Torah. I'm not fluent in all the limudim from the Gemara, but it shows us through various nuances in the pasuk, etc., how you get to the boxes, etc.
In Israel, there is a Jewish sect. They call themselves
Karaites, yeah. They don't believe in the Torah Sheba'al Peh. Yeah, that's why there's only like 1,000 of them left.
They don't worship it.
That's why there's only 1,000 of them left. And there's 15 million Jews. No. It's the Karaites. We had problems with them in earlier history, right? So they don't believe in, but even then.
But they're considered Jews.
No, we're not allowed to marry them.
Right? Yeah, no. We, as far as halachic, no. They lost the tradition. Also even things that they say that they only believe, but they also have books and they have pirushim and they wear talits. Where do you get a talit from? It's tzitzit. So what's tzitzit, right? They make a sukkah. So like their sukkah, and it has all fruits.
They're Orthodox.
No, they're not. They do their own form of it. Right? They do a Korban Pesach every year.
They work kibbut what do they do?
Their synagogue. In Sderot, there is a synagogue.
Praying is
It's like they don't have chairs or anything. They sit on the floor.
Where in Sderot?
Yes,
There's a few of them. I think that maybe there's like a few 5,000 that exist in total. That exist in total. Yeah, it says in Torah Brit Milah, so I assume they have a Brit Milah. Yeah, but for instance, some of the things that we do, that was, for instance, throughout Judaism, everyone on Shabbat morning has a hot plate, dafina or chulent. They have a hot dish, right? So where does that come from? Why does all of Jewry have a hot dish that was cooked already from the night before on Shabbat morning? That is to go against the Karaites. Why? Because the Karaites said that you can't cook on Shabbat, meaning even if it was started to cook before Shabbat, it doesn't count. So the Chachamim said, no, that is allowed. If it started beforehand and it stays on Shabbat cooking, right, then that is allowed. And so much so, we're going to institute that everyone should do it like this to show that it's not like you guys, not like the Karaites. Therefore, in every set, Ashkenazim, Sephardim, etc., everyone, that's why you're supposed to have a hot food that morning that was from the night before. So sometimes, these new modern, we shouldn't have dafina, we shouldn't have, orisa, we shouldn't have a hot thing. It's not good. We're supposed to keep the tradition of having a hot food that was cooked from the night before for the next morning, right? Obviously, if in a case you're stuck, you're stuck. But shouldn't it be just like, we shouldn't do it this week or whatever it is. You should always have it from So, because
How about we
against
have to
the...
thank Carlos for ours.
Thank Carlos for the...
Thank you so much.
for the, for the amazing kiddush every week. Azaku Baruch. Okay, so let's get to the description. So number one, we see that it's square. We see that it's black, right? We see that it's black. We see that it's square. It's made from animal hide, right? The actual box is also made out of leather.
Does it have to be made of hide?
Yeah, it has to be made out of hide, made out of leather.
So what about
100%.
people who are allergic to hide?
I don't know.
Is
I
there
never
a
met
substitute? I don't know.
Right, no, that's a good question. There's no substitute, but I never met someone that's allergic to tefillin. I don't know. Maybe they're also there. I don't know. Anyways, okay. So square. I heard an explanation, a beautiful explanation. Square is something that needs to be formed by man. Meaning, if you want a perfect square, you have to take measurements, and you have to build it like that, right? Whereas another side, something circular or whatever, you kind of put it together, and here it is. You need to actually measure it out. That you need man's intervention in Yahadut, in Judaism. It's not just about spiritual. The man has to be involved to elevate, to take, to build, to be involved in the mitzvah, right? It's not just like Judaism is not sitting on top of a mountain and meditating and things. It's about actions. It's about, yes, eat, but make a bracha. It's about, you want, physical pleasure, but you have to get married. There's physical action of man, and that's represented in a square, where a man has to actually measure it, cut it out, form it, etc. Black is something that is the least reflecting color. Right? When you shine something against black, it soaks it in. It doesn't reflect that easily. Right? It's the least reflecting. Kind of showing that Hashem, His mitzvah, it's just Him. There's nothing else involved over here. You're not shining something else. Oh, now I get a different color. I have to get something else out of it. Right? Black is representative of this is what it is. This is Hashem's mitzvah. Don't try doing other things. Now the animal hide, that is also, we spoke about this regarding mezuzah is on animal hide, and the Torah, the Holy Torah, is on animal hide, which is something unbelievable. We should write it on like gold, or write it on paper, write it on, why animal hide, something so low. But that again is the number one point in Judaism. Our function as Jews our slogan is to uplift, to take from the mundane, to take from animalistic, something so low, and make it so high. And you see this in the Torah. The Torah is written on animal hide. The animal that when you go there, he stinks, and he makes smelly, and it's disgusting, an animal. And nevertheless, you elevate it to the highest level of a Sefer Torah, that if it falls, we fast it. We don't even want to think about it if it would have fallen. And it's unbelievable. The highest Kedusha ever in this world is a Sefer Torah from an animal. So that's the point of a Jew. That don't think you're ever, you're too low. You could be as low as you think you are, but you could reach the highest of heights. You have that ability. And that's what's going on as well with the Tefillin. Teach us this message that I'm never so low. I can get to such high levels. Inside the Tefillin, there's 4 parashiyot. The first 2, Shema Yisrael, and then the second paragraph of Shema is V'haya im Shamoah, because both of them mention Tefillin. It's basically all the 4 parashiyot that mention Tefillin in the Torah. It's 4 times in the Torah. Shema, V'haya im Shamoah, Kadesh li kol bechor, that's why we read, and V'haya kiviyacha. That's why we read those paragraphs before Hashem Melech every single morning. Kadesh li kol bechor, Peta korech. He said, those Pesukim, we read those, because those have to do with Tefillin. And if you notice on Shabbat, if we're there early enough, we don't read it before Hashem Melech. So you ask yourself, why not? Every day I do. That's because, again, we don't wear Tefillin on Shabbat. So therefore, it's in a way not necessary to say these verses that have to do with Tefillin on Shabbat. So we omit it on Shabbat. But every single day, it's very important to say the Kadesh li kol bechor, because and say Shema with your Tefillin on. You're supposed to say Shema with your Tefillin on. You're supposed to say Kadesh li kol bechor with your Tefillin on. So therefore, you enlighten these parashiyot that are here. I'm wearing these 4 parashiyot every single day on Tefillin, and I say it that brings it to life. That I'm actually saying these verses that I'm supposed to do, and I'm actually wearing tefillin at that time. That's already like you're doing the mitzvah in its fullest. In its fullest. And these four parashiyot, Shema talks about this. These are like the fundamentals of Judaism are hidden in these four parashiyot. The oneness of God, the reward and punishment, the concept of reward and punishment, which is one of the fundamentals in Judaism. Yetziat Mitzrayim, Kadosh Baruch talks about Yetziat Mitzrayim. Right? We have mezuzah in there also. These mitzvot that are protections of ours. So these are like the fundamentals of Judaism, Shema, right? We're His nation. He's our God, our one God. All these fundamentals are in the tefillin as well.
Rabbi, a question about what you said now. To wear the tefillin while you're saying the Shema. What happens in a situation a couple of weeks ago when the summertime didn't change yet, and the nets or whatever the zricha was late in the day?
Much late.
So a person has to go rush to work, right? So he has to do the
early.
tefillah. So can he do the amidah and everything without the tefillin, and then only at the end when it's light enough, then put the tefillin on? Or is not allowed to do that?
So there is the zricha, like, so there's alot hashachar, there's alot hashachar and there's nets, right? So alot hashachar is when the sun passes the horizon. Sorry, when the rays are coming, but it's not visible yet, right? But it's kind of like it's coming. Alot hashachar, the sun is coming up, but nets is netz hachama, is with the actual sun, because first the rays come and then the sun. So when the rays go above the horizon, that's the earliest time. But the best time, which is nets, is when the actual sun goes above. So nets is when the sun goes above. 72 minutes beforehand is where the sun goes. But before that, it's still dark. It's dark. I mean, this time it's also dark. Before sunrise, it's also dark out. But we say the rays are out there, even though I don't see them so clearly, and it's just getting lighter. So technically, in worst case scenarios, you could pray at that time, which is 72 minutes before nets. Before that, though, it's completely dark. So within that 72 minutes, you would have to see the times, right? We could just quickly pull it out here. Good for one of the good things about technology. So we have over here, nets is 7:12, sunrise. Alot HaShachar is 72 minutes before. Here he does a calculation of 120 minutes. Some say 120 minutes before, which goes back to 5:12. But most shitot say 72 minutes before.
6 o'clock.
Right? So it'll be 6 o'clock. Right? So therefore, sunrise is 7:12 today. This morning, 7:12. So let's say tomorrow. Tomorrow's 7:14. So technically, the best way is your Amidah should be from 7:14 and on. At 7:14. If let's say, it's too late, I already got to be in work, whatever, then the earliest that you can do is 6:02.
But can you do the entire tefillah and amidah without the tefillin, put the tefillin during the day, during lunchtime, for example?
You could put the tefillin. Tefillin is until nightfall. Yeah. If you're stuck in it. Of course, the best is to wear at Shachrit. But if you're stuck, these types of situations, you can wear it all day.
Can you wear your tefillin during the day? All these...
Like randomly. It's a good question. Back in the day, they would wear the tefillin all day. It was, that's what they would do. Now, Hachamim limited it because it's so kadosh, we have to be in the right frame of mind. We have to say the right things. And it's so much worse if I say wrong things, or think wrong things, or do wrong things when my tefillin are on. It's so much worse. You're like wearing a Sefer Torah and you're saying Lashon Hara, you're saying bad things, or you're acting, or you're doing a sin. So therefore, Hachamim limited it to tefillah, to Shachrit in the morning.
What if I want to learn Torah? I'm alone, I'm not going to...
People don't usually put it on again, and that could be also, it could be, especially if you do it in public, it could be considered like a little bit of ga'ava, like who are you to all of a sudden put on tefillin, whatever. Some people wear it again for mincha, which there's kabbalistic things, whatever. But let's say, for instance, in yeshiva, a lot of times what people would do is they'd wear it for tefillah, and then they're not going to go down to breakfast just yet. They want to learn some Torah. So because it's on already, I'll sit and I'll learn Torah with it. So they'll leave it on for another hour and a half. And then before they go down to breakfast, they'll take it off. Right? So sometimes people do that. So that's kind of an extension. And they're in a holy place learning Torah. That's fine. Right? But
some soldiers wear them in Israel.
Wear them the whole time.
Yeah.
It's few. It's rare. It's rare.
Maybe they feel good.
Maybe, yeah.
Added
Protection. Added protection.
Right? Insurance.
Yeah, insurance. Yeah, but it's rare. Even the great rabbis in Israel, there was only one that I knew of, which was Rabbi Scheinberg, who would wear tefillin all day.
Rabbi Busso does it.
Maybe Rabbi Messod does also now. Yeah, you're right. Rabbi Messod, one of the grandsons of Rabbi Sali.
Fast all day.
But even like Rabbi Avad Yosef didn't, Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky doesn't, Rabbi Yashiv, who?
Rabbi Kaduri.
Rabbi Kaduri didn't, right? As far as I know,
Yeah.
I don't think, right? But so the general custom was just to wear it at Shachrit.
Now you have the two versions.
The two versions. How does that work out? So what does it mean? There's the two versions, Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. So as follows. In short, there's 4 parashiyot, right? We said. Now these 4 parashiyot in the hand. If we look at the box of the hand, it's one box. Look at the box of the head. It looks like 4 compartments. If we look, it's like there's 4 lines, right? 3 lines. There's 4 compartments. Because the truth is the one of the hand is actually one hollow box, and the one of the head is actually 4 folds like this, and actually 4 compartments. So in the one of the hand, the 4 parashiyot is written on one paper. On one paper, it's all written, all the 4 parashiyot together. The one of the head, it's 4 separate pieces of paper, pieces of parchment, and folded up, and each one in its slot. Now, the machloket is, which order do the parashiyot go? That's basically the entire argument between Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam, Rashi and his grandson. Or the rabbis before that, meaning it was unclear. They knew it has to be these 4 parashiyot, but in the head it was like, okay, maybe put each one in whichever order you want, no specific order to it. Later on, the Rebbe said, no, it has to be in this order, no, it has to be in this order, etc. It boiled down to 2 schools of thought, Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. I'm not sure exactly the orders offhand as to what the difference is, but there's a difference in order. That's what they're arguing about. And it comes up to 2 different schools of thoughts. Both of them have a lot of strong basis to it. Rashi is the one that prevailed. So therefore your standard tefillin is Rashi's tefillin. Now, an extra pair, if you're on that level, etc., is Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. Right? Even the Shulchan Aruch already talks about wearing Rabbeinu Tam tefillin, it's a good thing, etc., but it's an extra. It's, if you're on that level, if you want to, right? But, so that's the Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. But it's mainly 2 schools of thought. Because if you would go with every school of thought, back there, every shita, it would be like 20 types of pairs, or things like that, right? Because you have different, or 16 pairs, different orders, right?
Is it? But there are only 2 orders, right?
It's boiled down to 2 orders.
And it's only the one in the head.
Only the one in the head that's the difference.
So why don't they make the cap a little bit bigger and put 2?
No.
2 parashiyot.
Oh, because then you're adding parashiyot. You're supposed to
No,
only
it's
have
the
4.
same. There's the same parashiyot. It's just that the order is different.
Instead of 4.
But in the same thing you put like 8 parashiyot, or like
Yeah.
say 1, 2, 3, 4, then you put here 1, 2, 3, 4 this way.
That's right.
No, so it's adding. So you can't add, right? Bal tosif, bal tigara. You can't add, like let's say you want to put like a 5th corner, let's say, or something like that.
A tefillin
An extension.
No, make a tefillin with two boxes.
Like all in one. What?
Double boxes.
Who?
Double boxes.
Yeah, but it's 2 separate boxes. It's not all one together. Yeah.
So you can make 2 separate boxes with 1 strap.
Yes, that's what it's saying.
Separate? No, not with 1 strap. With 2 straps. You've seen that, I'm sure. No.
No, but they take them
yeah.
off and they put them back on. They put on the new
Yeah,
ones
it's 2
on.
separate. Yeah. No, some take off and put on, but some wear 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
With 2 straps.
With 2 straps.
Yeah,
That's
Rabbi,
like-
like Rabbi Beautiful, he has like one
Yeah.
Rashi, one
Yeah.
Rabbeinu Tam, and puts the little kippah cut.
Yeah. So the Rabbi Saig also wears 2, etc. Yeah.
And Moshito Cohen too.
Yeah, a lot of people. Okay, let's continue. We're on video, Rabotai. Okay, let's continue. Now let's go a little bit deeper into some explanations to the head and the hand. Why specifically on our head and our hand? So number 1, the head and the hand. The head is our thought, and the hand is our action. So we want to purify. That's our 2 things that we use the most, right? And therefore we want to purify both of them. We want to purify our thoughts and purify our actions. And that's our mandate here in this world, to purify our thoughts, purify our actions, try doing the best that we can. So that is tefillin shel rosh, tefillin shel yad. Now, on the tefillin shel rosh, we see something interesting. First of all, the tefillin in general, there is different letters of the name of Hashem. On the Tefillin Shel Rosh, we have the Shin. On both sides, there's a Shin. The letter Shin. Some Ashkenazim, they put a Shin over here on their arm, on their hand as well. Some put a Shin over here on the straps. Right? So here's you have a Shin. The knot in the back of the head is a Dalet. And on the hand, there's a little piece sticking out. You'll notice it tomorrow morning. Right? That's a little Yud. So you have the name of Hashem, Shin, and Dalet, and Yud. Right? Right? So the Yud is also could be the little bit on the finger. We're going to talk about the finger a little bit more, but yeah, that could also be. But there is a little Yud, and that little Yud is actually very important. It's supposed to be attached, touching the box. You'll see it in the morning.
What does Faradim put on the hand?
So Sfaradim just put another way, like this.
Yeah.
Right? Why like that? I'm not sure. As opposed to this way, where you have the sheen. I'm not sure why it's like that.
Why do we have to have 8 straps?
8 straps. Good point. So first of all, again, we have the name of Hashem with us. Part again in the Tefillin. 8 straps there's 8 levels in Shamayim. 8 Rekim. There's 7 heavens. Now, so Sfaradim though we have 8, and Ashkenazim we're 7, right? But in truth, we also put on 7, but the way we count it is different. Because the first one that we count, that's here, it's not complete. Because it's a half. Because the other half is here. And the last one that we count is also a half, because the other half goes to here. So I have 1 half here, 1 half here, and 6 full ones. So it's 7. But it looks like 8, right? Mm-hmm. And Ashkenazim just do 7. They just, they're not as complicated as us. So we put 1 here, they put another half there, and 6 complete. So it looks like 8. Yes, 8. But it's really, the way you count it is 7. And Ashkenazim just put 7 on, right, for the 7 Rekim. Now what's interesting is people don't know is that this part of the hand, the tying of the finger, is actually more important than the 7 straps. This is a halakha of Moshe Sinai. So for instance, let's say you don't have enough strap. Right? First of all, go buy if you don't have enough strap, right? But let's say you don't, and you're stuck. Then literally you can make 1 wrap or 2 wraps, however many you need, to get to here and to do this properly. Do this properly over this, right? So that is right. This is more important than that. Fine. So you have the name of Hashem. Now, if we look at the sheen on the head, you'll see it in the morning. On one side, it's a sheen with 3 heads. And on the other side, it's a sheen with 4 heads, which is very interesting. You never see a sheen with 4 heads before, right? Why is there a sheen with 4 heads? So one of the explanations, the Ben Ish Chai says, we'll see another explanation later. One of the explanations is the 3-head sheen is for Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And the 4 heads is Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. And that's our forefathers and our foremothers on our head. Because at all times, the Chamim tell us we're supposed to try emulating. We're now in the Parashiyot of Bereshit, all the stories. The stories are only there for us to learn, for us to be like them, to be good people and see what they did. And they weren't jealous, and they weren't this, and they did good acts of kindness, etc. Try being like them. Therefore, we always have to say, Matai yagia ma'asai, the ma'asei avotai. When will my actions be like the actions of my forefathers and foremothers? So therefore, we have it on our head. And to remind us at all time, my 3 forefathers and my 4 foremothers are there on my head to remind me. So therefore, if anyone ever tells you that Jews are feminists, say we wear our mothers on our head over here, right? Right? Some of us think we have our wife on our head, but the mother, yeah. So that is...
You should have made 5.
5 for your wife. So that is one of the explanations for the sheen on the head. Now, the 2 straps that are coming down. We once said this explanation, but now that we're talking about Tefillin, we'll mention it again. It's a beautiful explanation. This explanation is from the Khatam Sofer, where going back, he explains as follows. Not long ago in the parasha, at the end of the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu. We had this on. Was it over Sukkot or over Rosh Hashanah? Nevertheless, Moshe Rabbeinu asks HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hareni na et kevodecha. I want to see you. So we think it's like, I want to see you, God. But it's more of, Moshe wanted to see the ways of Hashem. And his biggest question was, why is it that a tzaddik has a bad hard life, and a Rasha has a good life. Why tzaddik veralo, Rasha v'tovlo? Which is the biggest question, which is so hard to understand. That's what he wants to know from God. Hashem tells him, you can't see my face, you can only see my back. That's what the Torah says. Now the Gemara adds, so what did Moshe see in the back? Moshe saw the knot of Hashem's tefillin. So now, if we put it all together, Moshe asks God, I want to know your ways. He says, here, look here. And he shows him the knot of tefillin. What's that supposed to answer? Like what's... So, Khatam Sofer explains as follows. We have the two straps that come down. We know that the one strap's on the right, one's on the left. The right is chesed, is kindness. The left is deen, is judgment. So, as follows. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, look, you have one side is chesed, one side is judgment. Two straps. But look at the knot, look at the tefillin knot. And the truth is, when you untangle that knot, you'll realize that it's all one string, one strap. It's not two separate straps. If you untie that knot, it's all chesed, it's all kindness. And therefore, it looks like a knot. It looks complicated. Why did this person is so young and passed away? Why does this person have such a hard life? He's such a good person. It's complicated. You're not going to understand it. And to you, it's going to look like one chesed and one deen. But you should know that it's all rachamim. It's all good. And we don't understand Hashem's goodness. What do you mean? Why is it all good? That we have to leave. So Hashem was telling Moshe Rabbeinu, there's some things that you're not going to always understand. That's the explanation. Now when we see the two straps hanging down, what that signifies. Now, the tefillin is also an unbelievable mitzvah that we actually bind to our body. We tie it to ourselves. Right? It's not like other things where, okay, here's a mitzvah and here's me and I do the mitzvah with my hands or whatever. Okay, so that I eat it, which I'm ingesting, which is also huge. Right? But here I'm like tying a mitzvah to me, tying the parashiyot to me, which is something, such strength. And plus, it leaves an impression. After you take it off, you have the marks, right? This is the marks that I did the mitzvah, etc., which is something so great. Now, when we wrap the finger, there's a pasuk in Hosea, one of the Nevi'im, the second parak, that tells us as follows. And some people say this pasuk while they're wrapping the finger. Ve'rastich li le'olam. I will betroth you forever. I will be engaged with you forever. Ve'rastich li betzedek u'mishpat. I will be engaged to be married to you with truth, with honor, with truth, with judgment, u'vechesed u'rachamim, with kindness, with compassion, ve'rastich li be'emunah, and we will be engaged together with emunah, ve'yadata et Hashem, and you will know God. And this putting on the finger is like an engagement ring. That when I'm wearing this, I say, Hashem, this is our bond, this is our engagement ring between the two of us. That's what's going on when we're wrapping our finger there.
You don't say it?
I don't know why I don't say it. Maybe I should say it. You say it? Yeah. So I don't know why I just don't say it. It's in the Patachiyah. Yeah. I probably should say it, but I just don't know why. Yeah. It's not mandatory, but it is a minhag. It is minhag. Maybe I'll start to say it. Is it our minhag? I don't know, you asked the wrong guy now. I don't know. Yeah, I'll ask Rabbi Yisrael if he would do it, but a lot of Sfaradim do it. And the reason why we say this is, again, it's engagement. It's like an engagement ring. And these Pesukim are from the Prophet, right? Regarding tefillin. Now, a beautiful explanation to the tefillin is as follows. There's a Zohar HaKadosh. I think I once heard this in a shiur. I think it was from Rabbi Mansour. There's a Zohar HaKadosh that tells us as follows. When Hashem commanded the Jewish nation to build a Mishkan, the famous pasuk is, Ve'asu li mikdash ve'shachanti betocham. Make for me a mikdash, a bet HaMikdash, and I will dwell among them. Now the famous question is, what do you mean, ve'shachanti betocham? Which means I will dwell among the people. It should say, ve'shachanti betocho. I will dwell in it, in the building. Built for me a mikdash, I'm going to dwell in it. I'm going to dwell in the people. So the answer is that we build a building, even a synagogue, we build, right? These are places of worship, but it's for us to connect, for the human beings to connect. It's not just about the physical structure. So even though he says, build for me a mikdash, it's not that I'm going to dwell in the mikdash. I don't want it. I don't care about dwelling in the mikdash. I want to dwell in the people. And now this mikdash is going to serve as a medium when you come there and you learn there and you connect to there. Then I'm going to connect to the people and I'm going to be in the people. And I'm going to have my dwelling, my shekhinah in the people. That's the explanation to the pasuk. The Zohar Kadosh says as follows: Ve'asu mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham zu tefillin. That's tefillin. So what's the connection? The Bet HaMikdash and Hashem's going to dwell in us and tefillin. So one explanation is as follows. So one explanation is, before we get into the deep one, is just like we said before, we had the three-headed sheen and the four-headed sheen. Another explanation is the three-headed sheen is our Avot, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. The four-headed sheen is the four legs of the Merkava, of the as if Hashem's throne, or the four species that are on Hashem's throne. And Hashem's throne is representative of Him. And He comes to the Bet HaMikdash, Hashem, He puts His dwelling there. And the Bet HaMikdash is a zechut of V'zacharti B'riti Avraham, B'riti Yitzchak, B'riti Avraham, Yaakov, Yisrael, Eskor, V'aretz Eskor, that Hashem gives us the Bet HaMikdash from the zechut of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. So we wear tefillin, we're wearing Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, we're also wearing the four species that are on the throne of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore that is a union. That's the reason why we, like in the Mikdash, we have it because of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. We have Hashem there. That's the Mikdash, and it's connected to tefillin. That's one explanation.
There are also the Avot, the 13 letters, and for Imaot also 13.
Wow.
Together there's 26. Chazak Baruch. Very nice. Chazak. Chazak Baruch. I don't know if I knew that one. Very nice. I gotta write that one down. And the Shabbat. Write that down. So, another explanation is as follows. You know, a lot of times people have segulot, right? A lot of people have, this will remind me. Okay, right here. Shabbat and 13. I don't remember like that. Thank you. So, a lot of people, they have like segulot and different amulets to Ayin Hara, they have a red string, whatever, right? These little things. We have to recognize that tefillin are so powerful. How many times in our tefillin, because we said now we have the Shema, it's inside there. How many times is the name of Hashem written in the tefillin? So, in these parashiyot, it's 21 and 21. 42 total. 21 and 21. And that's the numerical value of Ehyeh. Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. Right? That's when HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu that I'm gonna take the Jews out of Egypt. Moshe says, where's the sign? Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. I'm gonna be with you. Wherever you are, I'm gonna be with you. And Aleph is 1, Hey is 5, Yud is 10, another Hey is 5, so you have 5, 10, 5 is 20, Aleph is 1, it's 21 here, Ehyeh, Asher Ehyeh, 21 there, that's connected to the Tefillin. That's one explanation. But now, you have 42 in total, right? So, I think it was Rabbi Messod. I forget who he named it in the name of. He says as follows. The question that we asked was, what do you mean? Ve'asu mikdash v'shachati betocham zu tefillin. What's the connection to tefillin? So as follows. You can read the pasuk like this. Ve'asu mikdash. Make for me a mikdash. V'shachanti. And I will dwell betocham. The word betocham, right? That is betocham, among them, right? Can also be rearranged to the following. Toch membet. You have the word, and the letters in the middle spells out toch, and at the two ends is mem and bet. Ve'asu mikdash. Thank you. Ve'asu mikdash. Make for me a mikdash. Ve'shachanti, and I will dwell. Toch membet. In the membet. What's membet? This is 40 and this is 2. In the 42, which is the 42 names of Hashem in the tefillin. You make for me a mikdash, I will dwell now also in tefillin. We don't have the Bet HaMikdash anymore, but a small version is tefillin. It's unbelievable. And therefore, that's the Zohar HaKadosh is already hinting to us. There's a strong connection between the Bet HaMikdash and Tefillin. The Kedusha, Hashem dwells. We have little amulets we want to connect, a little red string, whatever. You have 42 names of it, not one time, 42 times in the Tefillin, Hashem's name is there protecting you. Right? That's why my rabbi, I also have to, I'm not so perfect with this, but my rabbi in Ner Israel Yeshiva, he would tell us when I was in 11th grade in his class. So we go to prayers, and we know Tefillah is going to finish in 5 minutes. And you want to go to breakfast, and you want to go down there first, whatever it is, right? So it's already 5 minutes till the end of the day. You're already taking off your Tefillin. You wait till the end, you run out, right? So he would look from us, and he would go like this. He would make signals like this, like paying money, right? So we're like, what is that? And one day he said, imagine God is paying you money every single second that you're wearing tefillin. He's giving you mitzvah. And now you say, no, don't worry. And you take it off, right? He says, you're losing out every single second. Leave it on till the end. Leave it on till you finish. Then you're going to get more. Right? So that's what's going on with the 42 names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu with us, with tefillin. That's the connection to the depth of the Bet HaMikdash, of the Shekhinah of the Bet HaMikdash is there with us as well. Now, what's interesting is that in the Torah, it's always called totafot. The word tefillin is not in the Torah. It's always the word totafot, zikaron benenecha, right? So, where did the word tefillin come from? And what's why is it like that? So they say that in Aramaic, it's an Aramaic word, tefillin, and it comes from the word tafal. The root word is tafal. Tafal means like a strong connection. And the Chachamim, and totafot means a sign. Totafot and ot also mean a sign. So, in order to strengthen, at the time, the second Bet HaMikdash, destruction of the second Bet HaMikdash, to strengthen the sign between Hashem and His people, he would say, put on the tafal. Tafal means strong attachment. And it was in their understanding that they knew, I mean, if you say put on your totafot, right, that's a Torah word, and now I'm speaking Aramaic, I might not understand that. Or, which means sign, put on the sign. When I say it in your language, I say it in English, put on the tafal, right, tefillin, plural, right, put on your two tefillin, which means a strong attachment, then, now I get the message. And it was a strong attachment between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? That's an explanation that I saw.
When did this start?
When did they start putting on tefillin?
When did this start? Because
they got the Torah.
To Mikdash,
they had tefillin.
They had tefillin, but they didn't have prayers. They had korbanot. So, did they put on tefillin?
Did they not? I mean, look, the prayers were instituted from Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. But yes, the prayers, though, as far as the regimen that we have in the Amidah, etc., was from the Amidas were from after the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. I think Shema, they would say, because Shema is a mitzvah from the Torah, that we have to say Shema 2 times, one in the morning, one in the evening, right? And Tefillin is a mitzvah from the Torah. So they were definitely wearing Tefillin, like let's say when Moshe Rabbeinu came down with Har Sinai. So I don't know how long it took them to manufacture Tefillin. One guy he opened up first, and he got all the business or something. I don't know, but they had to manufacture Tefillin. So I don't know if they had it from day one, but basically after they got the Torah, they started wearing Tefillin. That's for sure, and most probably they were saying Shema, and they probably would pray, but not in the fashion that we have other prayers. Prayer was big as well. Now it became mandatory. It became instead of the korbanot. After the destruction of the Bet HaMikdash, because korbanot was the main facilitator. Before then, I don't think it was unified. It was you put on tefillin, say Shema, you say other prayers, maybe talk to Hashem in other ways, but it wasn't the uniform. Because the ones that created the uniform Amidah is Anshe Knesset Gedolah towards the destruction of the Bet HaMikdash. But it's a good question. I think it was the first, right? Anshe Knesset Gedolah, because Mordechai Tzaddik was part of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah. He got demoted after his story a little bit. So but he was around then. So it was around that time. But no, that's a good question. But yeah, so the tefillin was called tefillin for this. It's called tefillin. It's kind of like an understanding in our language. This is what understand what tefillin is.
Tefillin is the plural.
It's the plural, but the word was tafa, which means like a strong binding connection, strong attachment. Now, one last point. Uzikaron ben enecha, what do you say? Uzikaron ben enecha, leman tiyeh Torat Hashem beficha. It should be a remembrance in between your eyes, in order leman tiyeh Torat Hashem beficha, in order that the Torah of God should be in your mouth. So here now is a strong connection, which is an interesting connection over here between the tefillin should be a remembrance in between your eyes, so that your your mouth should have Torah in its mouth. Leman tiyeh Torat Hashem beficha, in order that you should have Torah in your mouth. So if you want to have a segula to be speaking Torah, saying words of Torah, it's also tefillin. There's so many segula. I didn't bring them all down, but Arichut Yamim, for the one that I did bring down is this one, straight in the pasuk. You want a connection more to Torah? Tefillin will prepare you for that. Will get you there. And just to bring it into modern times, I think Jimmy Ben Simon showed me this once, that Chinese acupuncture came up with a study not long ago that the perfect pressure points for relaxation or acupuncture pressure points are literally where the tefillin is, like on the head over here, like so many points, right? You could go Google it afterwards and you could see that, and there's been studies on the well-being of people that wear tefillin, etc., right? And this is, besides for the physical benefits that we get now, the best one is the spiritual benefits. And so we were referring to when we said the 42 names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is something so powerful, something so unbelievable, which we try always getting different segulot. Be connected to tefillin, realize how deep it is, realize our connection, try to perfect our hands, our actions, try to perfect our thoughts, our mind. Be'ezrat Hashem, by having all these things in mind, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us the strength to do so, will give us the ability to do so, and will give us all the berachot that lie in tefillin for our families, for ourselves, our families, and entire communities, for all Bnei Yisrael. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashya omer, Atzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu lezakot, et yitzad, Fiach HaKadosh Baruch Hu shneimar, Adonai hafetz man tzidko, Yigdil Torah ve'yadir.